everyone, and welcome to the Utopia of Nerd News! Well, I can't really do that yet because it's not really technically Halloween yet, but it's getting pretty darn close.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Woo!
Mid-October right now.
So are you going to dress up in a sheet and pretend you're a ghost?
1 year, I got lazy and I just threw a sheet over me and I said I was Jasper the Unfriendly Ghost. True story.
And 1 year, I dressed up as a basketball player. With a
Cool.
basketball, and I had a basketball jersey because I used to play basketball.
Yeah, well, another year, I dressed up, I believe this was 3rd grade, I dressed up as an atom. With pipes over me and balloons attached. It was...
Get it? Because his name's Adam. Well, 1 year, I dressed up as a pink Power Ranger.
Dude, I was the Black Power Ranger once. Handmade costume. Thank
Mine
you, Mom.
was store-bought. Anyways, welcome...
Thank you, Mom.
Yes, thank you, Mom. Welcome to the Utopia of Nerd News and our quirky little discussions we have here. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome again. So, let's go ahead and get started with the most amazing news that you'll ever hear in your whole entire life. Well, probably not, but hey, we like to think so.
You know, I'll actually say we might have some because, starting off, we have a few of my favorite video game franchises making a bit of waves. The first one coming from Japan is Kingdom Hearts 2.5 was announced. It will be coming out in 2014, so next year.
Gosh,
probably early to mid next year, I'd think. So that's very cool. It'll be exclusive to the PlayStation 3, which is why I don't think it'll be too far into it because it's not coming out for the PS4. And they also said that it will come out with Final Fantasy Recoded in kind of the position where 528 days, whatever it was. So that'll be like remastered cutscenes from Recoded.
Cool.
Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix will be the
playable?
Yes, the playable one. And that will note that Birth by Sleep Final Mix and Recoded will be their first time outside of Japan for both of those. So, very exciting. This basically means we get full high definition Aqua. So, what more could they have done to make me happy?
If you haven't played Birth by Sleep, you need to because that's probably one of the best.
Honestly, though, Birth by Sleep to me is a better game than Kingdom Hearts 2 is. I love Kingdom Hearts 2, but
Yeah.
Birth by Sleep is an amazing game. It was the best original game out of not just the PSP, but in my opinion, the DS as well. I know there's a lot of people who will take offense to that. It was an amazing game for the last handheld generation.
Mind-blowing. And, you know, like, people out there are like, oh, Kingdom Hearts, it's Disney characters, so simple. No. You take that back right now because it is, like, one of the most, like, difficult storylines to follow.
Seriously, you can play through that game and play through the main Kingdom Hearts, the main Kingdom Hearts, and you still won't comprehend everything you went on your first playthrough on that. You'll either have to look it up or keep going or sit there all day pondering stuff. It's deep stuff that enhances 1 and 2's story immensely, and you know it's going to fold majorly into 3 because this introduces 3 new characters. Anyway, enough selling Birth by Sleep and the fact we get Final Mix, which opens up a whole new chapter with Aqua and what happens at the end of Birth by Sleep.
It makes me wonder, though. I mean, like, obviously, 3's coming out. We're all excited for this. Kingdom Hearts fans, we've been waiting for this moment for all of our lives. But it almost makes me think, like, when they, because you know they will, they've come out with 1.5, 2.5, they're going to come out with, like, probably a 3.5 once, you know.
4's on its way, yeah.
Yeah. So
20 years from now.
I wonder if, like, the 3DS one, the Dream Drop Distance, will then be put on number 3.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the thing.
That is.
But, yeah, anyway, the addition of the final bonus chapter with Aqua in post, and if you've played Birth by Sleep and you don't know about that chapter, that's probably got you pretty jazzed, because that game ends with a bang.
Yeah, it does.
So that's that. So that was what I was really excited for. Now the other one, the other big franchise that's near and dear to my heart, Mass Effect.
Ah, yes.
We got a little bit of Mass Effect 4 talk.
Ooh.
Which was basically them coming out and saying that the Shepard decisions and the Shepard story wasn't going to affect this game at all.
That's good. That's what we figured. I mean, you know, obviously, we've talked about this. We weren't mad when the Shepard saga was at its end because we were like, that's the end. And they completely effed that up. But anyways, yes, so excited for Mass Effect 4.
Right, because at first they were like, oh yeah, and your decisions will still matter way back when they first started talking about ME4. But I think when they were in the writing room, they're like, guys, we can't throw in like one for each of the different endings of ME3. We can't have the one where everyone's glowing green for the entire thing. We can't do that, okay? So I think this is a great decision. They'll just choose one of them to be canon. That's what I know Deus Ex has done with multiple endings in the past. I think that's just the better way to go. Take that for what you will. That's a good decision on their part. It lets them move on. One of the things that I know that they were saying was, we don't want to kind of bog ourselves down, and we want this to feel like a Mass Effect game, not a Mass Effect spin-off or a spin-off of Shepard and friends. They said none of the companions in the game are coming back. None of that. It's its own thing, and they're starting,
that's great.
A reboot,
That's good.
Tali had her time. I can always go back to 1 and 2 and parts of 3 to remember how great she is.
Yeah, emergency induction port.
Yeah, I just never finished the third one again. Anyway, so that's that. Moving on, for you Zelda fans, we get a lot of Zelda talk lately, don't we?
We do.
This one, though, is not for the Zelda 3DS game.
Oh.
This one will basically be that Eiji Aonuma, the producer of the Zelda games, basically said, this coming E3 in 2014, we will be coming out with a lot of Zelda Wii U news for their upcoming Zelda Wii U game. So it's just kind of a little precursor to what's coming up for Nintendo and what their headline's going to be, basically.
Pretty much Zelda's keeping Nintendo Wii alive. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's doing that with the 3DS too, because the 3DS was struggling there for a while. Now they're really getting going.
Yeah, they are.
But
I think that just
it just takes a while. Nintendo kind of messed up. They didn't prep themselves enough. They had a year advance on their next gen over PlayStation and Microsoft, and they didn't prep for it. They had a huge advantage, and they blew it. They dropped the ball, and they're probably going to be in dead last place the moment those two hit the market. So at least they're throwing out one of their big guns to help try and be like, all right, they're coming out, but we've got Zelda coming. And people love Zelda. That's a $6 million seller right there. The magazine Now Gamer was interviewing the Final Fantasy X HD director Yoshinari Kitase. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. But basically in that interview they asked him the possibility of future high def of the classic Final Fantasies and hopefully some of the really good ones. But what he said, the one that he really wants to do next for the PlayStation Vita is a high def remake of 12, which is bad because they're going up, not down. They need to go down so that they can go up, if you know what I'm saying. 12
is not a classic.
He said it's because the reason we wanted to do 10 was because you can pick up 9 and through 1 on the PlayStation Network, right? But you can't pick up 10, 10-2, and 12. So that was the reasoning for doing 10 and 10-2, and he wants for the Vita 12 to be the next one. But I suppose that's fine. It's a Vita game. It wouldn't take near as long. I wouldn't be interested. I'm not a huge fan of 12. I didn't like their combat system.
No, I hate it.
The game was too stretched out, even though the story wasn't too bad. And I hate the main character, Vaughn, so that's a thing. But 12 fans, there you go. Hopefully, after that, we can buckle down and get to 6, 7, 8, and 9. Which are the ones that I want.
I just have a feeling, though, if they were to ever do it, because I know I have read up on this, and they said that, 7 would be one that would be if they were completely done with the series of Final Fantasy, but if they were to redo it, I think they'd probably leave 7 to the last.
Yeah, I agree, because that's kind of the consensus number one. I know there's always a lot of people who are like, oh, my favorite's 6, or my favorite's 10, or my favorite's 4, whatever. I'm sure there's a couple people that think 13 is, but 7 is the kind of the consensus one. It was the first one that kind of pushed Final Fantasy into the mainstream. It pushed them into kind of their, what I would consider like a second generation. 6 debatably, but it was the first 3D video game, period. It was a huge game. It's one of the most game-changing, and not just Final Fantasy game-changing, not just RPG, but games in general.
Yeah.
You know, it's got Sephiroth, who's easily one of the most memorable and iconic villains in video games, period. Probably would be number 1. His song is one of those things, the moment you hear it going, you're like, oh boy, here we go. And you can be in the middle of a car, and you're just like, oh man, the song, and everyone's about to die, goodbye Nibelheim. You know,
I don't even know who that is!
Exactly, and you're just like, done. You know, it's an amazing game, and yeah, I would definitely see that one being last. I wouldn't mind them waiting on 8, just so, you know, because it's the one I care least about of the ones I mentioned. But 9 and 6 would, I want those. I want those bad. 6 could definitely use a full reboot, though.
What about 5?
5 is like...
It's like the...
It's the game that everyone's like, yeah, it's not bad, but, you know, it's alright. And the last little bit of news is just that Hulu Plus made a deal with Nintendo, so if you're a 3DS, 3DS XL, or the crappy cheap version with the 2DS, you can watch Hulu Plus if you're subscribed. So you can watch TV on your DS.
What? I don't have Hulu Plus, but I do have a 3DS.
Well, if you get it, then you can watch TV on it.
Nah, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty small screen if you're not using an XL.
Yeah, it's just like watching Netflix on there, or you know, like on my...
Well, it's like
even
a
on my
smaller screen
Vita,
than your
like
Kindle.
I wouldn't, no.
Yeah.
No. That's why I got
That's
a TV.
the thing. Some people might.
If that's your only TV.
Alright, so moving on to movie news, the first bit is we have a few casting rumors for Ant-Man, and serious ones this time because we're getting close to actually where they have to cast him.
Yeah, because they got to start filming it soon.
They have a little ways
I know,
before that, but
you know.
it's like next year's when they start filming it. But they need to cast him pretty soon because they're getting the stuff ready. The first one is somebody who's been rumored for quite a bit of superhero roles for him. This will be his third role he's been rumored for, which is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Which would be interesting, but he's, not for me. He's also been rumored for Doctor Strange before, which, no. He was rumored for Starkiller. I would have been fine with that, I guess, but he would have been in a mask the whole time. So, whatever. But there's him, and the other one is an interesting one. One I never thought I would hear, an actor I never thought I would hear in the running for a superhero role. But it kind of makes sense because Ant-Man's not exactly your stereotypical superhero.
Right.
He's a guy who's just super smart and a scientist. Which
tell me the name.
Is Paul Rudd.
Oh.
That's weird, but the more I've thought about it, I'm like, I can kind of see it. I could see him being like the smart scientist who's kind of a womanizer. I can kind of see him in that role. It's one punch. One punch, okay? So that's that. And the other little bit, we don't have a lot of movie news, to be honest. The other thing, also coming out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that Vin Diesel, playing Groot, as we all know, right?
Yes.
Not quite right.
What?
Somebody was asking Kevin Feige about it, and he's like, we still haven't signed him. Like, it's not official yet. He just keeps running around saying it's official. He's like, we haven't signed anything yet. So, not quite official, but I don't know what's holding him up. It's all he has to say is one line.
I am Groot.
That's it. So I don't know, but not quite confirmed. All right.
So what about some trailers?
Yeah, we got some trailers.
Okay.
The first one, we had a teaser trailer for Hercules: The Legend Begins.
And it looks so...
Well, this week we have the actual trailer for it.
Horrible.
Yeah. So, go ahead and go.
Alright, so getting on Adam's soapbox. It does not follow Hercules' story at all. we are still waiting for a good Greek mythology movie.
Mm-hmm. In this version, Hercules plays a legionnaire in the Roman army, and they travel south to Egypt, which the Romans actually did, so I suppose in that weird way I can kind of appreciate it, but it's so weird. Why is Hercules traveling to Egypt? I don't know. This has nothing to do with the labors. This has nothing to do with most anything.
He's going to find his love. They made it a romance.
But see, we did know that going into it. They did say they wanted to make it a bit of a romance. This looks awful. It looks like we know exactly why they wanted an actor from Twilight, because it looks like really campy romance, not realistic romance. They throw in some weird stuff in the trailer where they're like, "You're Zeus's son. Use your power."
Yeah.
And he reaches to the sky, pulls lightning bolts down in a giant lightning whip, and just takes out a bunch of people. And that makes no sense because he has no lightning powers.
I just want to say going into this that when we were starting to watch the trailer, I completely wasn't like, oh yeah, we're watching the Hercules trailer. I was like, is this going to be a Roman parody movie?
Yeah,
because it doesn't have a feel of like serious drama or romance. You know, it felt like it was gonna be one of those where it's like epic movie or whatever, and it's just gonna be made fun of. That's what I was expecting. Cause that's how the mood was.
I personally wish they would have went with more of a Greek thing than a Roman thing, but they went all in on the Roman. He's a Roman legionnaire, and one thing I was kind of disappointed with is the thing I was really watching for in this trailer, to be kind of my one shining hope, was to see Liam McIntyre, Spartacus, because he's supposed to play his best friend in the movie. He's barely shown twice through clips rolling through. I can guarantee he's already a better actor, and he's better at the action scenes than Kellen Lutz will ever be. It looks like he's just being pushed back, and I've got no love for this. It looks bad. It looks really bad.
And then the next movie trailer we checked out was...
It was a movie called Nonstop featuring...
Oh my gosh, my boy, Liam Neeson.
That's right, Qui-Gon Jinn. Ever since Taken, he's been thrown in about every thriller movie I can possibly imagine. A lot of really bad ones. This one looks pretty interesting. It comes out, I believe it said February of next year. It looks pretty interesting. I like the idea. I like the concept behind it. I think they might show a bit too much of it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you're like, wow, this looks like it's the end of the movie. So I kind of hate that. But that aside, it did look very interesting. Yes. It looked like it's something that'll have enough mystery to keep you going throughout it. Which is a problem of a lot of thrillers, is just not having enough mystery behind them. Mm-hmm. So...
I agree. I love Liam Neeson. It could, like I was telling Adam, it could be a very cheesy movie, but I still love him because his voice.
Last but certainly not least, we have television news. In fact, this week we've got probably more actual news than we did in the movie realm. There wasn't a lot in the movies. But the first of which being that Community Season 5 was finally given its date, because it's a show that they only give a half season to because it's there for when their other shows fail. They throw that one in. So January 2nd is officially Community Day on NBC. It will have the first 2 episodes of the season to air back to back. And then post that, I believe Parks and Rec is going to move to the second one, and it will be the first, so it'll be there, and then you can not bother with Parks and Rec because it's not as good. So there you go. January 2nd is Community Day on NBC with their one good show.
And
the next one is the Doctor Who 50th anniversary movie trailer was released. We did not watch it because we're still not quite caught up, but we're doing our best.
Yes.
But we caught up on Netflix, so we have to find another legal means to watch the others.
Means I'm going to buy the 7th season.
And last, and definitely the craziest... So, Marvel has their current TV show going on called Marvel the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. based off of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, even though one of them wears the S.H.I.E.L.D. uniform.
Yes.
Okay? And we know that there's a strong rumor of a potential Peggy Carter 1900s post Captain America, the first Avenger movie.
Don't tell me they're thinking of adding a third TV show of Marvels.
Well, they are.
Oh, how did I guess? What is it?
In fact, including the Peggy Carter movie, they've got 5 potential TV shows in the works. We do not know what they are, outside of the Peggy Carter one, but that means there's another 4 unknown scripts being potentially made for the chance that they want to use them. Now, what they are, we don't know, but if we could speculate, what kinds of shows, based off the Marvel Universe, would you like to see? I've got some...
That they have rights to?
I've got some that I think would be pretty interesting.
Obviously, some type of woman superhero, obviously. Lionheart. That's what I want. I want Lionheart. Most of you will not know who that is, but I do. Let's see. Let's Lionheart.
There's some cool ones. All right. So, what would you think about a potential Great Lake Adventures movie or TV show based off the supposed kind of rejects, starring Squirrel Girl and
Doorman,
and
Flatman.
Basically, they're superheroes who suck at being superheroes.
Yeah, except Squirrel Girl, because Squirrel Girl kicks butt.
Right, and they're basically, it would be a funny action show.
I can see that.
The only hitch they would have on that is Squirrel Girl herself, because she's technically a mutant, and they can't use mutant, so they couldn't use Squirrel Girl, but they could use a girl with squirrel abilities, being that they're using the Inhumans soon, and we know that'll be connected. They can easily say she's an Inhuman with squirrel abilities, and just say that, and that one little hiccup will be good and done, and then they can have them, and they would be a group, I believe, there's 4 of them, so it would be a kind of a normal-sized group for a TV show. I think that would be a good one. Another one, I think, is before Marvel reacquired the rights to Daredevil, there was a TV show in the works for Daredevil. I think maybe they could try reworking that script a bit, and bringing Daredevil a TV show. I think I would love a Daredevil show.
That'd be
since
cool.
They don't have room for him in the movies. I would love to see him in there. He's one of their cool superheroes. As far as other ones, I'm not entirely sure where this should go. Maybe an Iron Fist.
Lionheart. Come on, Lionheart. You want to see this.
Maybe something like a Quasar, if they wanted to do like a spin-off of S.H.I.E.L.D., because he is an agent within S.H.I.E.L.D. who becomes a super powerful cosmic superhero. So they could bring him on the show. I mean, they even referenced him on one of the episodes of the show.
Yes, they did.
And they could have him get his powers on the show, and that could be a spin-off show. There's a lot of ways they can go.
Or they could do, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first Guardians.
They could.
I would love that.
They could. I mean, there's a lot of ways they can go here. And I'd be interested in most of them, I think. They could even do, barring what happens in the second Thor movie, they could do, like, something with the Warriors 3, if they can bring in all 3 of those actors.
Or Loki could just have his whole TV show.
You know, I would like that, but that would be very awkward.
Yeah,
that would be very awkward. You would have to have really good writers to try and come up with week-to-week stuff with the kind of stuff he spills out of his mouth and his mind. Because that's very complicated stuff.
All the fangirls are going, we want it.
Right, but anyway, I think the Warriors 3, you could do like adventures in Asgardian lands and different planets, and where you have those 3 running around doing their thing. You know, there's different things they could do, and most of those scripts probably won't be made. We'll never even know, but there's a couple out there that could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the thing to keep an eye out for, and that's it for my news. So I'll go ahead and let her talk.
We've got anime news to talk about. Get excited. So, quite a bit of news coming out of the anime world. Let's go ahead and start off with some littler stuff, but quite interesting. So, Code Geass 2, Code Geass Aikido 2nd, it's going to have its Blu-ray and DVD slated for December 25th, so if you're a Code Geass fan, that is coming out soon. For you Sailor Moon fans, they are going to have a new Sailor Moon anime. It is going to be subtitled in 10 different languages. I couldn't find out what languages they were going to be in, but I imagine one of them probably will be English. So that is a thing as well, and that will stream around January. As well as last week, we actually talked about an anime series that Funimation has said that they are going to English dub, which is called Iki Tosen Great Guardians. Well, some stuff went down, I guess, and they're not going to have a limited edition complete series DVD series box. But they are still going to have the regular one. And that was reported by Right Stuff, who Right Stuff, they are a retailer, and so they sell, anime things. And that is still slated for December 21st. We're not quite sure why they're not going to have the limited box edition, but that's going on. Now into some bigger things that is going on in the Funimation world. Right now, they are actually going to have some simulcasts that are going to be digital. So you can right now download the following series on iTunes, which would be Blaze Blue, Alter Memory, Unbreakable Machine Doll, and Freezing Vibration, which I've never heard of the latter two. I've kind of heard of Blaze Blue, just like...
Right, that's based off the video games.
Yeah. So those ones, they'll be available to download off of iTunes.
Clearly not Funimation's biggest selection.
Well, those are for right now, but they will be available the day after the simulcasts go on, and these three are also available on Xbox Video and Sony Video on PlayStation Network. So, if you don't have iTunes, you can check them out on the PSN or the Xbox Marketplace as well. So that's what's kind of going on for them right now. I don't know I imagine they'll probably be adding more to their lists. I guess we'll have to see in the future. And I saved probably the best news for last, which is for you Persona fans. Persona 3 video promo came out because they're making a movie for Persona 3. It's actually Persona 3 the movie #1, Spring of Birth, and they said that they had a film updated and added a new promo video, which we will have for your viewing enjoyment. It is in Japanese, however, but you can kind of get a grasp for how the art is going to be. Obviously, you'll probably kind of already know how it's going to be. But yeah, you can get a grasp for that, and there's also a description of kind of what goes on in the video as well. So,
as somebody who owns Persona 3 and has played it, let me just say that first off, I love the art style in it because it's the exact art style that the game uses, and they stay true to it. They don't try and make it kind of too generic anime, or they don't try and make it like Persona 4's anime was, because each of those games are very distinct in their own way. The music sounded very Persona 3 music, especially the first one. Second one was a little weird. That aside, I haven't gotten to see the Persona 4 anime yet, but from what I've heard from people, what they've said, or at least people who have played the game, is that there's too much in those games because they're too big, and 25 episodes wasn't enough to cover Persona 4. So I think 1 or 2 movies, they're going to have to cut out way too much of Persona 3, so I'm not looking forward to it. In that promo, I mean, you can see they don't use half the characters that you acquire in the game in it. They show some characters who are kind of important, but not super big. And I don't know, I just get the feeling that it's just going to be really skimmed down. And being that I know the story, I've played the game, I have the game, I watched that, I could know what's going on. I don't know how well they'll interpret it to people who haven't played it, but if they do, they'll get a very cut-up version of it, and it won't play out as well.
Well, I guess a thing I have to say about it, though, because anime, a lot of the time, they don't finish off things. You have to go read the manga to figure out what actually happens. So I guess it doesn't bother me as much. So, but I haven't played the Persona game.
Played the games before you watched the anime, because the games are amazing games. At least 2 and 3 are.
Oh yeah.
And from again what I've heard of the Persona 4 anime, because I haven't brought myself around to watching it yet, is it looks great, it sounds great, everything's good about it, except 25 episodes can't do justice, because these games are about as big as video games get. These are fully blown RPGs with fully blown dating sim thrown in there, with 20 side characters you can talk and have conversations with that each have their own stories and unique arts, that the game is so big you can't even get to all of them and through their stories, and it's just so much, and they try and throw in as much as they can, but it's just like throwing it into a shredder, and there's too much to it, and these games are too big to take on. If they were going to do one, they need like a 50 episode anime.
Well, I don't even know if that would even cover it all, though. But like I was saying, like, I just attribute it to, like, most animes don't even follow all the story in the manga. So, I guess if you watch the Persona 4 anime, then just go play the game if you want the rest of the story. That's all I have for anime news, and there wasn't a whole ton lot going on in the books news world either, so.
There's dust in them boots. The books. Wow, we're all just getting tongue-tied.
Yes, so that is a thing. Dust in the boots.
So there's literally nothing in the books?
Nothing.
Alright.
There's nothing in the books.
So that was our show. I believe we don't really have any reviews for the coming week. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
But first of all, don't forget that mystery box. Because it is somewhere in the video.
Right, and you should have seen it. Unless you're on a handheld, in that case you have to miss out. Because YouTube and handhelds don't get along.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya.